Okay, let's take a look at how we make actors talk to each other. I've just made an empty third-person template project here. So the first things that we're going to do is just set up our scene. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on actually how the scene is set up, but because we want to get an environment where we can start looking at how to connect the actors together. So I'm making a blueprint called bouncing ball. Here we go. I'm going to open that blueprint up. I'm going to add a sphere. This is going to be our ball here. I'm going to make the sphere the new root of the object. I'm going to turn on simulate physics here and check that the collision present is correct. So that's all we need to do. So I'm going to drag this in here. So you can see that now I have the ball here dropping. Just to make it a little bit nicer, I'm going to make a material called checkers. And we open this up. I'm going to do a checkers pattern. I'm going to do a texture. It's called a coordinate. Texture coordinate. Here we go. And we're going to plug this into the base color, and then we're going to add a little bit of tiling. Plug this in here so we have a nice little checker pattern here. And then we just go into our sphere and we select our checkers pattern here. So now we have a ball, a bouncing ball, and whenever we play, we make it so that it falls down. So I'm going to add a little bit of logic into the blueprint itself. So I'm going to get the sphere here. I'm going to do add impulse. So this is going to make the ball bounce. I'm going to add an impulse of maybe 25,000. Let's see how this turns out. It could be a little bit higher. 50,000. Yeah, let's do 75. Like this. All right, so yeah, this is nice. So now we have a nice little bounce on the actor. And lastly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an event here. I'm going to right click and do custom event, which just makes a new custom event for my bouncing ball blueprint. And I'm going to do make me jump. So this is just something that I decided to like I can name this whatever I want. So instead of doing this on begin play, I'm gonna add this event here on and add an event called make me jump. And when we take a look at it and we play now, you can see that it falls, but nothing happens because nothing is actually calling the make me jump function. So I'm just right clicking and I'm writing make me jump here. We plug this in here. So now on begin play, what happens is that we go here, we call make me jump, and we add the impulse. So now the actor jumps. I'm going to duplicate it a couple of times here, and what we'll see is that all of them jump. So this is the basic setup that we need for our blueprint. So let's move on to the next step. Our next step is manually linking the blueprints together. So what we were looking at is if we go into the blueprint here, we have on begin play. Basically what this means is, let's just get rid of this. Basically what this means is that whenever the game starts, whenever this blueprint starts, it tells itself, I should jump. So because we're calling this in here. So if I double click on this, you can see that we move here. But we don't want this to happen every time on the on begin play. We want this to happen whenever basically when the game that we're building needs it. So let's just get rid of the begin play altogether. And now all we have is the make me jump button here. One really cool trick you can do when you're testing logic out like this is you can pick your event, and here on the right there is a flag here called call in editor. If you enable this, I'll show you what happens. Now this function here is available in the editor. So here in the 3D view, if I select one of my bouncing ball instances, you can see that I have a button here called make me jump. And if I go into the simulate mode here, I do that by going into the in this drop down here and pressing simulate. If I go in here, and I play the game, I can still pick all of my actors. You can see they're being picked here in the outliner. I can pick them here. So now I have the make me jump logic here. So I can actually trigger the jump logic on each one of these actors, and this is really, really powerful for debugging. But this is not, you're not going to be able to ship a game with the editor tools. So let's make it so that each one of the bouncing balls we can actually make basically a friend, make the first link or the manual link between the actors. And the way that we do that is, you can see the important thing here is to see that if I call make me jump, the make me jump function, make jump here, you can see that there's a target here, and the target by default is self, and this means that if we call it right now, however we call it, this is going to trigger on the target that is self, and that is, we're inside of this blueprint here, or this blueprint instance. So in the level here we have 4 instances, so each one of them, if we can press Control E and then we go into each one of them is an instance. They all share all of the same code. So if we take a look at the blueprint, that if we call this function here, or this event here, and we have self, this is going to cause it to run the logic on itself. So, and this is what we saw, for example, if we go on to begin, we add begin play again here, and we do a really quick trick that I really like. I'm going to do set event by timer here. So this allows me to do an event. So I'm going to say do it once every second, and I want this to loop, and I drag out of this red one here. I'm going to do custom event, and it's called do the jump command. So what we've done now is we've made this, we made logic that is going to trigger every second, and we're going to say call make me jump every second, and this is looping, so every second it's going to call make me jump on myself. So let's see what happens here. Here we go, and all of them are, you can see, yeah, up, because this is happening every second. It's not falling down to the floor every time. So so this is what's happening now. All of the balls are individually doing their jump. Okay. So, but what we want to do is we want to make it so that we're not jumping ourselves. We want to control this from another one. So I'm gonna simplify this a little bit, and I'm only gonna have 2 of these balls here. I'm gonna have this one here, and then I'm gonna have this one here. So what we do is we go down here into variables. So in order for us to be able to plug this into something other than ourselves, we need to know where the blueprint, where the kind of the target actor, or who, where the target actor is. So let's just walk through this and see if we can make sense of this. I'm going to make a new variable here, and I'm going to call this variable my friend bouncing ball. So I'm going to say that each one of the balls can kind of basically define their own friend. And here you can see that I made a variable. The variable is a Boolean, but I'm going to make a variable that is of the same type as this actor here. So it's going to be called BP underscore bouncing ball here. And we do an object reference. So what this means is that now what we've built, we made it so that this actor here, or this actor instance, has the ability to remember a reference to someone else, one other kind of entity in the world. So I'm gonna pick the variable here. I'm gonna make it instance editable, which means that I can change it on each instance. So this is an instance and this is an instance. So here, now that I've made this instance editable, you can see here under I have the default default properties that I've added. I've added my bouncing ball here, and I also have this function here because we flagged it earlier as call in the editor. So now under default, you can see that I have the make me jump command, which triggers this here. And now I'm just going to make another one, custom event, and I'm going to call it make my friend jump. and I'm gonna make this call in the editor. I'm gonna get rid of this auto jumping now for a while. Let's get rid of this. So now we have another function. We have one function called make me jump, and it's actually let me just change this to make it a little bit clearer. I'm gonna call this do the jump. And I'm not gonna have do the jump be call in editor. I'm just gonna move this a little to the side, and I'm gonna add a custom event here called make me jump. And the way that I do that, the way that I do make me jump is I'm gonna do the jump here. So we do make me jump. It's going to be called in the editor, and this is also called in the editor. So make me this is totally going to make sense a little bit later. So make me jump is the button that we now have here. Make me jump, and what that does is that it calls do the jump on me, on self. And if we double click here, you can see that it goes here and it does the add impulse. This is the jump logic. Here we go. And let's just double check to see if this works. The ball should fall to the ground, and I'm gonna press here make me jump. And yep, here we go. I jump and then I pick the other one, and this works too, but make my friend jump doesn't do anything. So you saw that I earlier added this my friend bouncing ball object object reference, I think it's called. Basically, and I set it to instance editable, which means that I can now go in here and I can say here on this ball here, I can pick a friend. So you can see here in the bottom, there's the my friend bouncing ball variable. And I can actually just do here, click in the viewport, and that doesn't work. So and let's change the names of them to make them the first ball. And I'm gonna make the second ball here. I'm gonna group them together also just to make this easier. So I have the first ball and the second ball here, and let me save this, just all of this. So I have the first ball. I want the first ball to make the second ball jump. So I pick the first ball, I go here and I pick my friend bouncing ball here, and I pick the second ball. So you can see that this changed. Now we can see that whenever we click the instance of which is called the first ball, when we click this, we've set the variable my friend bouncing ball to the second ball. And right now this is not going to do anything, but we already made a button here called make my friend jump. So let's see if we can make an implementation of that. So here it is. It doesn't do anything yet, but what we do is we drag in this variable here. So this is my friend's bouncing ball. So you can see that here we picked the second ball, which is this one. We set it here, which means that now this instance here is going to have my friend bouncing ball is going to be pointing at the other one. So now we can drag out of this one and we can do the jump. So now you can see that the target of do the jump is actually the friend bouncing ball. So now we've made a manual link in the editor between all of the balls, between the first ball and the second ball. So let's see what happens here. I can say make me jump, which makes this one jump, and I do make my friend jump, and that makes the friend jump. Awesome. So I'm going to go to the other one, and I'm going to do on the other one here, I'm going to do make me jump. This works. And then I'm going to do make my friend jump, but nothing happens. And this is because the friend bouncing ball has not been set on this actor. So we have not made the link between the two yet. And we're probably even going to get an error message here saying that when I press the button, access none, trying to read the property my bouncing ball. So because we haven't set the link from from the second ball to the first one, nothing's going to happen. So we can go to the second ball here. We can point to the first ball, and then now we have everything working. I can select the second ball, make the friend jump. I can do it the other side here, and then I can make them do cool things here. So so this is basically the way that you can think about how you can make the absolutely default kind of balls jump here, or make the most default kind of connections between the actors. And the important thing is you make the functionality, you make the function on the actor. So you've taught the bouncing ball to jump, do the jump here, and then you have to just decide who is going to call the who is the target. Is it going to be self? So then the instance itself is going to be the one who's jumping, or is it someone else? And then you have to figure out how to get the target. And in the next section, we are going to be taking a look at more ways that we can figure how we can get the targets different ways, because it's not going to be practical for you to always make these links manually like this.